because I set this for tomorrow instead of tonight. So I'm getting my tablet set up here. If you give me a minute here. Getting things set up so that we're not got feedback. Hope you're all doing good tonight. Getting my chat set up here. Give me a minute here. Okay. Not sure which one's giving me silence. There we go. I don't think I hear anything. All right. Got my chat set up. Hope everyone's doing good. It's just 7 o'clock, so I'm just going to give it a couple minutes. Let me know you're here. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Did you put the bees on your project? Does that flower? Oh, it was adorable. I'm just, I've got some of the spring release here. I've got the March, some of the March items here. And I really don't have 100% plan for tonight. It's been a crazy week. So I thought I'd see who was here at the beginning and I'd show a little bit of this release and then you can decide what I should play with. Awesome, thank you. I'll look forward to seeing it. It was really cute. So I have, this is the spring, some of the spring release right here. I have some of the stencils. This is the Sweet Spring stencil. Now I do not have any samples with me because I sent them all to the store. Hi, Tina. But I have this stencil. This is the Flowering Vine stencil. And this is the Leaf Up Close stencil. So those are 3 of the stencils that came with the spring release. One of the dies that we have 2 piercing dies that came out with this release, and this is the Flowers A2 Pierce die. I did a stitched card with that. I know Christopher shared that. Like I said, I do not have the samples with me. Kathy, which stencil did you like the best? Which one? My favorite, so I think I like these 2, my favorite, but I'm in a toss-up because I know I can do a lot with this one, and you know, this one can be so much fun with the background, but I had a lot of fun playing with this one too. And then this one's fun, and I love that one of the design team members cut these out and made these as like stickers, and that was a great idea. But this is the pierced die. So there's no edge to this, so it just cuts into the background. We might play with this tonight. And then you'll have to forgive me, I have some papers in mine. Here's the Wisteria set. This is the Wisteria set. And I did do some surgery on my stamps. The floral stencils, yes. The piercing dies are wonderful. There's 2 more that I really would like to order. Or there's one more right now. There's a vine one, and then there's a couple that came out at Christmas. But this is a great set. And then I believe this, I don't have the coordinating dies for this right now, but I believe, I don't know if all of them come, I have a sneeze coming, excuse me, with the dies come for the sentiments, but I think so, but I'm not sure. Kathy, I am not necessarily floral, but I'm getting there. I'm trying, so. Then we've got 2 really fun sets. This is the Your Tweet set. I'm sorry if I'm shining you with the light above me here. Which is this adorable small house with these birds. And then everything you need to set a scene, you know, the nest, the eggs, the worm, some flowers, clouds, and some grasses. And then this is the small die house, or small house. And then there's the bird houses that have the 2 houses. So there's 3 sizes of house. So there's the small, there's the medium, and there's the large. And then I do have the coordinating dies for this one. Here I have a couple that I've colored. I haven't done anything with yet, but I have a couple of them. The other samples, like I said, I sent to the store. I'm gonna try to remember tomorrow, maybe start posting every day on my social media. On my Facebook page at Instagram, which is under Sugar Cards, pictures of my projects. So here's a couple of those. Yeah, I love the cutesy sets too, and I like scene buildings. I like all sorts of stuff. So this is your tweet and the birdhouses. This does have coordinating dies. I don't have them yet. And then we have fresh flowers, which you can see I've used, and it's hard to see. So I thought maybe I have one stamped out so you can see the image. This one is stamped out and I heat embossed it, but I haven't done anything with it yet. But this is the fresh flower image. And then it does have a coordinating die. And then the Smells Like Spring has all of these fun flowers that even kind of mimic and follow along. You know, here's the smaller version of the daffodil, you know, the hydrangea. So you can combine these together. All right, Kathy, I'll see you in a little bit. And so this is a fun set, and this also has coordinating dies, which I have to order yet. Hi, Gina, how are you? I'm kind of playing with it, so if there's something you see and you're here tonight and you want me to use it, tell me. Otherwise, we'll pull something out and we'll have fun. Now, let's move over from the spring release. There's a few other, like I said, there was a couple other dies that I didn't get yet, so I don't have those, but you can check them out on the website. Here is the March. We've got the Sophisticated Spring. This is the box stamp set. It does have a coordinating die set. And then we've got a matching, you know, Sophisticated Spring paper pad. We've got the Stencil of the Month, which is this spring. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if I have a black piece of paper handy. Maybe on here you could see it a little better. The Spring Showers, which Christopher used in his live today. And I'm not 100% sure how to say this one, but this is the Paisanka Easter pattern. I love this stamp, or this stencil. It's just, I had some fun with this one this last weekend. I've just made a couple, did something kind of different that I haven't used before. And then one of the add-on sets is this Lovely Lillies set, which I just love. And it coordinates really well with the Stamp of the Month. I have some cut out here, so we could actually have some already colored, which are leftover from a project I did. And then the Stamp of the Month, which is the You Are Loved, has some smaller lilies. So here are some of the lilies that I painted ahead of time. Hi, Mom. Did you get me on my big screen, on the big screen? So here are some of those lilies, if that gives you an idea of what they look like. These are leftover from a project I have coming up on social media. This one, I believe, is with the Die of the Month, or the Stamp of the Month. Here's that one. There is a few, here's a couple of, I don't know if you could probably have them as leaves. I had them as lily petals that I colored. So those are a few of them, and the Lovely Lillies. This one, I love this set. It's beautiful. I want to play with this one some more. And then last, what I have here is the Die of the Month, which Christopher used today, and that's the puddle jumping. I haven't cut mine apart yet. I'm going to be using that this weekend to create a scrapbook page, but I haven't used that quite yet. And that is that. So if anyone says anything they want me to use, you go ahead and shout it out. Otherwise, I think we'll just start playing. Spring, it feels like spring here. It was 50 some degrees today. I took the dog for a walk at lunch and walked along. I live on the Mississippi River, and there's a lock and dam here, and south of town usually has some open water, but north of town usually has ice, and it was gone. I mean, there's some spots obviously in the lower lying areas that has some, but the ice was gone, and I'm like, it just felt like spring. So I thought it would be fun to play with that. Some spring stuff. Well, maybe what we will do is color up some flowers. How's that sound? I'm going to grab some Aqua Pigment paper here. And I'm just This is a tip that I learned off the internet, off a YouTuber. Instead of opening the bottom here, just cutting off the top and leaving it, so that way you don't have to mess with the stickiness. So that's what I tend to do with all of my packages of things that I don't take out of the package. So I love the Aqua Pigment paper. I thought maybe we could have some fun. It's wet but yet dry. I keep breaking all my nails. I thought it'd be fun to stamp some of these images out. We might do some fun masking too while we're at it. So I'm just gonna get my Misty out here. We'll grab some of the lilies. I think I'm gonna start right in with the big one right in the middle. And then we'll just play around and see what we think. So we'll pick that up at the door of Misty. I'm gonna use my anti-static powder tool because, oh, Gina, I'm not gonna take credit for it. I saw it a year or two ago. Somebody was doing it with a kit pack, and I thought that was an amazing idea, and I've been doing it ever since. And that's what I do with my stencils as well. When I get my stencils in a package, let's see if I have one. If I don't have any containers for them, I cut the top of my, I don't right here have one handy, but I just cut the top of my stencils off and then I can put them right, oh yeah. So I just cut the top of the stencils off and I can just slip them back in and then they're ready to go. All right, so I think we're gonna do a little heat embossing today, and then we're gonna do some kind of loose watercoloring. Now today I am going to go ahead and use my more of this pigment ink, the VersaFine Clair, because when I heat emboss, this is my favorite ink to heat emboss when I want black, because it stays wet just long enough, and I usually only have to stamp it once. So I'm gonna it saves me a little bit of paper, you know, if I can't always find 6x6 for the stencil, you know, for 6x6 can't even think of what that's called right now, scrapbook page protectors, or when I go to get the ones, they're usually out of stock, the couple different places I buy, so I thought that was a good thing. All right, so got that, and that's going to stay wet for a few minutes, so I'm going to let it to the side here quick and grab some of my Bruce Monroe masking paper. I don't know if I had any small sheets, and I'm going to just, oh, see, I got a little ink on it. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit so I have some space. This is kind of a way, you know, I mean, the way I'm stamping this, I'm going to try to just kind of line it up. We don't need a heavy image, so we're going to quick fussy cut this out. So we just did, that's just a very light, but that's all we really need, because when we cut that out, I'll get my squeaky clean here. Get that wiped off. We're only going to need a couple of masks tonight, I think, because this will take up a lot of space on my card. And then after I have the heat embossed, or the sticky ink, I love the Icicle. Icicle is one of my favorite clear. It's the perfect clear. You can use it with pigment inks for color. I like to do it over the pigment black for that really punch of black. All right, let's heat set that quick. My doggo's looking at me funny because he knows I'm talking, but he doesn't know who I'm talking to. He keeps looking in the window over my thing. So I love heat emboss. Never gets tired of seeing that turn to shine. Look at how beautiful that is. So Gina and Tina, in particular, how's the weather where you guys are at? What'd your weather get like today? My mom had some snowy weather today, which I thought, you know, she was telling me about, and I was like, I'm sorry, Mom, it's not snowing here. I really didn't even need my coat at lunch, but I wore it just to got breezy this afternoon. And the dog and I went for a short walk when I first got home from work, and the breeze really picked up, and it was pretty funny. He kind of stopped and looked at me like, are you crazy, Mom? What are we doing out here in this? When I fussy cut an image for a mask, I try to cut in the middle of the line as much as possible. You had 4 inches of snow yesterday and hailstorm today. Ooh, yuck. I will take the snow over the hail. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for mushroom season, morel hunting season. I am looking forward to, just after Easter, seeing some of my girlfriends later on in April, do some crafty stuff. You're supposed to get rain tomorrow. Okay. Well, you know, that's the one thing about spring. I will tell you, one thing I don't like about spring is that it's muddy season. And with all the snow and rain we've had, and of course I live in a ditch, basically. If you were to stand on the street corner, or on the corner of my yard, because I live in a corner lot, and look both directions, you would see cliffs or hills, because I live on the banks of the Mississippi River. So Wisconsin's on one side, Iowa's on the other. You have to go down a really big hill and up a really big hill to get in and out of my town, both sides. So needless to say, when it's melting and water, we have lots and lots of mud. That'll be fun, Gina. I went to one a couple weeks ago, and I worked on projects. I worked on some of my spring projects that I had left to finish, and then so I didn't get to have do the fun that I wanted to, like fun stuff. Not that, working on spring release wasn't fun, but you know what I mean. I was having fun working, but and I don't know if I'm going to go at the end of the month, because I signed up for the Scrapbook Today, Cards and Today, Crop and Create, and that is that weekend. Now I'm supposed to get together with some girlfriends that also signed up, and we're going to do it together live in April, because the one lady, she ended up got scheduled to work. So but I signed up for the one last fall, and I still have a bunch of projects to do, so I figured I should stay home and do that, but we'll see. All right, so I don't need this piece anymore. I just cut that off quick. Like I said, we didn't need a big fine piece because we're just going to stamp right over it. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of these other pieces, and we're just going to stamp them down on here. I'm going to let some of them come off a little bit. Maybe I don't know if I want to use that one yet. I don't know if we're going to do any greenery. So I thought maybe we would just stamp a bunch of the flowers. Maybe we'll put one big one here, and we'll turn it a little bit so it's got a little bit, the bump is in a different location. And I'm in the bump, there's a petal right here with a bump. And then we'll put this little one right here. Actually, let's put this other little one right here. Yeah, we might have to do a couple more that are masked off. Just a few more. All right, we're gonna overlap that just a little bit more. Okay, let's get our sticking picked up. I am not a huge watercolorist, but I think what we'll do is we'll have some. Yeah, it was fun, and I had a friend who came with me that day, Gina, that she wasn't going to get to come because she had a meeting and it got canceled the night before. So she's like, don't tell anybody I'm coming. I'll just come. And she kept yelling at me all day, are you getting your homework done? So I was like, yes, Mom. And then as I was working on stuff, I'd be like, Mom, I'm third of the way done with my homework. Can I get a snack? And this and that. We were having a really good time laughing, and it was fun. So some of the times I think reasons we go to crops, though, to be honest with you, is just a chit chat, right? All right, let's check this out. I may have to stamp this more than once because I am using a little bit of this is a watercolor paper, so there's a little bit of texture. And because with the mask, to get it down in the grooves, there's a little bit more. So I'm pushing just a little bit harder on here. So we get the detail from that centers. Looks pretty good, I think. You might have to do a little bit right here. So is anyone, I know those of you that are here, what have you bought from the new release, the spring release? Have you ordered anything? What are you excited to get? Do you have any questions about the new release? I am putting my, probably should have removed my mask. I'm just covering up my embossing powder. I am going to remove the mask here quick before I heat set this. I should have probably done that before I stamped, all right, before I covered it with, because I don't want that to stick on my paper. Awesome, let's get this done. And Gina, I saw a picture of Lily today. She had crazy, was it crazy hair day at school? Or was she just having fun having crazy hair day? Or was that from a couple of days ago, or? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I apologize for that. My boss just texted me and it was kind of important. I needed to read that, so I'll take care of that. For the love of reading at week, every day is a different thing. I love that. That was one of my favorite things for when I worked at school, was all the fun dress-up days, especially for the little kids, that when they could have fun with it, you know, with their wild hair or whatever. I always like to save those things. You know, save the things from years to years so the kids could dress up and redo that. And then we started, when the kids got in high school, I know that I could probably, I'm wasting a little bit of masking paper there, but apologize, I keep getting some text messages from work here. I'm trying to ignore them for right now. Just don't want that to show up on the screen here. Okay. Oh, and now I lost you guys. Friday is dressed as a book character. I need ideas a homemade costume. Okay. Well, what does she like? Does she have a specific book she'd like to read? Otherwise, what I would do is go through the books in her room and see what you can do to do that. One year, we had our library had a storybook parade, and I'll tell you, I always either, well, Mom's listening. Mom made costumes for my daughter Haley in particular, but I never really bought costumes. The one year my son went as Darth Vader was because the year before I found a Darth Vader costume on clearance after Halloween and bought it for him for fun because I'm a huge Star Wars buff. But anyway, my daughter did this. We did a parade for the library, dress up as your favorite storybook character, and I don't know why. Hold on a second. Tom? I'll be right back, you guys. He's at the back door. Can you go right now? He was whining quite a bit. Thank you. Sorry. We gotta let the dog out. He's whining at the back door, and he's whining pretty hard, so we weren't letting the dog out here. Anyway, it was called The Bad Case of the Stripes, and I went through her closet and I found whatever I could to make it work. You know, they might not have been the same color, but it was close enough. So that's one thing I can suggest. If she has some ideas of what she wants to be, you could always text me some pictures. Yeah, yep, that would be super easy. Like I said, if there's something she really likes, sometimes it's just kind of going through with what it is. Or if you have a chance to quick stop by, you know, if you need a t-shirt with a different color, go buy that color t-shirt at Michael's for like a white t-shirt and color it. I'm not sure why this keeps. Yeah, and I don't remember what I had her wear, but because she had and I think she just had a striped shirt, and I don't think it was the same color. And then I think she wore that because the girl has, I think, does she have stripes on her arms? And then I can't remember. I don't even know if I have pictures of her from what she wore. Because the one year that we did it, she dressed up as Dorothy. My mom had made her a Dorothy costume because her favorite movie was Wizard of Oz. Elephant Piggy. She has gray pants and a shirt, so I think maybe I can make elephant ears and a nose. You know what? If you have felt, you could, if you have, I don't know if you have time to go buy some felt and just roll it up and stick them, or paper towel tube and crinkle it up a little bit, you know, and then you could paint it quick with some paint to make a nose, and then you could poke some holes in it and it could go around her nose. That would be a nose, nice nose. You need a tail too, of course, which is very skinny. You know, you just need a piece of, because it's like almost like a ruler, you know, something. So just a piece of cardboard. Lots and lots of paper. You know what? Roll it up. You could roll it up and crinkle it up and it would work. Almost like paper mache. I would maybe roll it up really well, tape it with some tape if you have tape, and then roll another piece of paper that you could roll around it. And let's see. Ears, I don't know elephant and piggy, so I'd have to look it up. But ears wouldn't be too hard to do. Could you do paper plates? Paper plates or foam plates might be easy to kind of modify into big elephant ears. And you could usually punch a hole in them and attach them with some string. You know, or of course a cereal box. Tell the kids to eat a bunch of cereal, or a pizza box if you have a frozen pizza box. They could be cut up into ears pretty easily, I would think. You know, and just make them kind of irregular shaped, and you could always cut a triangle piece to have it flopped over. You know, like an ear might get flopped over if you look it up online. Does that work? Yeah, yeah, oh, yep, yep, exactly. And I was, you know, and that would be, you know, there, because you know, the shape of an ear, you don't have to necessarily have it completely circle. It's kind of an oblongy, you know, shape. And who knows, her elephant, you know, elephants charge at each other and fight. Maybe he got damaged in his fight, you know. But that's what gives them character, you know. And I say same thing for the tail. And then you just need some, like, I don't know, when I think of an elephant's tail, I think of just a stick, you know, like a ruler like this with just a few hairs hanging off the end. And then so that would be kind of fun to do that, if that would work. So okay, sorry about that. I was fussy cutting those out. We're not going to do a ton of these. We'll reuse these. So I hope that will work for you, Gina. Good luck. That's fun. You know what? That happened to me one year too, Gina. My daughter, her kindergarten year of high school, or elementary school, kindergarten year of high school, kindergarten year elementary school, they did a summer production or they did not a summer production, they did this end of the year production, and all of a sudden I got a letter home saying she is gonna sing with some other girls and she's gonna be a lamb, and she needed to wear white, all white pants, everything. And I'm like, in it, I think it was, oh, I didn't take all the masking paper off of that, that's why it's not sticking. And I was kind of like, what? And I'm like, where am I going to fight white pants? I mean, it was after Easter, but it was like way after Easter. And to be honest with you, I don't think there was a lot of white clothes out there for kids at that time that were pants. And I was just kind of like, I have no idea how I'm going to find this for her. Okay, so I am going to stamp this one down. We're going to have to, oh, I did create another mask. Okay, I did want to do that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut this one really fast, but we only need this cut off on this side. So I'm not going to cut all of the mask off. Anyway, so I happened to luck out and went to Walmart and found a pair of white shorts. And of course, I'm sure she had a white shirt. I can't remember what did I do to give her ears. But it ended up being just adorable. And the best part was it was so hot that day that in the gym she was dying. So the shorts were perfect. But I always tried to have my kids, you know, I like to make their costumes a lot. My son one year dressed up like, oh gosh, what was his name? It was the monster under the bed, but he was like the cute monster under the bed. I can't think of what his name is right now. Oh, he was so cute. And I just went and got green sweatpants and shirt, and I found, I don't remember, I think it was the container that held my, you know, my sheets, like the bag they came in, and then I made little 2 eyeballs out of ping pong balls and glued them on top. It was really fun. So if that happens again, shoot me up. I'll give you some ideas, because like I said, I used to try to come up with stuff for the kids all the time. So all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick, I think I'm gonna use this one more time here, and we're gonna oh, it's a little dirty. I'm making a dirty mess. We'll use this one right here. And actually, I think what we'll do is we'll use this one again, and I'm going to stick it down here, like that. Perfect. We'll get done. Get a little embossing, or I mean, stick my anti-static powder tool there. Stamp this down. I'm going to stamp this down a couple of times. Well, that'll be fun. And then you'll have to, oh, that's hilarious. That is so funny. And I was just going to say Captain Underpants. That same year, my daughter, she dressed up as Dorothy. My son wanted to join, and he didn't know what to do. And so one of his favorite books was Pirate Pete. And he had to dress up like a pirate. Well, fortunately, he kind of had some pirate costumes from just a dress up, because my kids love to play dress up. And so I got that out, and then I ended up, I had a wool red coat, and Pirate Pete had a red coat. And so he wore that, and then we put on eye makeup all over his chin to give him whiskers and stuff, and he got eye makeup all over that wool coat. I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do now. But we have a couple open spaces here, but I think that's fine. We're going to add some other things to it, and I think we will, or we can add some flowers that I already colored on top. I'm going to quick heat set this, and then we'll get going. Hi, Lori. How are you? We'll get to coloring. Thanks for joining me tonight. Okay, so that was quick and fast. Now I'm going to go grab a couple of aqua pigments, and we will get to coloring. Purple and blue. We're going to have some fun with color tonight. We're going to make purple and blue. Purple and blue. Lilies. Now I'm going to grab my pigment palette here. It is a fabulous stencil. You guys want a sneak peek of what I did? I don't think it posts for 2 weeks yet. Where did I put it? Where's my, oh, here. You want a sneak peek of my card that I used it with? You ready? So this is with the Sophisticated Spring Bunny, and look on this, and I did some masking, and I used that stencil. And then this is just a couple of different inks, and I did some alabaster glitter glaze over the top. I thought it was so fun. I can't wait to play with this again. And just have some fun. I want to just be able to create. Thanks, Gina. I really had fun with it. I want to mix and match some of these products. So this is the Stick and Stamp pigment palette. I know it was out of stock for a little bit. I don't know if it's in stock. I just found mine again, so I'm going to stick some of these colors on here. You could just use the glass mat, but I thought it would be easier to use it this way. Oh, thank you, Lucy. I had a lot of fun. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, and then I started playing with it, and I was like, oh, I really like it, and I wanted my bunny to stay white. So I've got violet, blue, and pearl, and I'm just going to grab some paint brushes here. And what I did before, I'm actually going to spray my sheet with water. This is just water, and give it a little water. And a tip I learned from a friend of mine that watercolors is to spray the bottom of your watercolor paper, and it will help keep it flat a little bit more. So I have a card. I don't know if it shared this last weekend or if it comes up this weekend where I use these. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint the pearl in my watercolor, in my panel here. And I don't know if you need me to get just a little closer. Neighbors' dogs are going crazy everywhere. I apologize if my dog starts barking. Hey. And then I just grabbed a little bit of that violet. I'm going to go ahead and add it in. And you're not going to notice the change right away. But once it dries, the pearl will just be beautiful. And then I'm just going to kind of pull it down. So I'm just going to put the pearl in at the tips. Now, like I said, I am still watercolor or painting flowers is out of my comfort zone. Still, it's something I'm new and learning at, but I figured I got to keep trying, right? And I did not grab water before I started, so I might have to just kind of play. And but I thought this was, when I did this the other day, I thought it was just really fun. And pearl is my favorite aqua pigment. I use it for splatter. I use it for all sorts of stuff. I add it with chroma glazes to give shine. I paint it over things to give shine. Now, I know one thing that I've heard in classes is to not do petals next to each other, so that way they don't necessarily run together. So I'm just quickly painting these. I'm not doing anything super fancy. I'm just going to throw in, and of course it's going to resist where I have any of that the embossing powder. Trying to, okay, so we did that. And so we're going to make this one a little pink, so we're going to do these flowers here. Oh, I might have done the wrong one. That's fine. We're just doing a little color in the middle. When you want to flood the whole area, you want to skip petals so that they don't mix with each other. But I'm just going to put a little bit in, and then I'm going to pull it out with I'm going to go ahead and throw some water down here. My paintbrush. I'm just using a little to kind of clean it up a little bit, and then it thins out the watercolor. You don't need to, but I want it to be a little thinner so it kind of runs together. But the aqua pigments you can just paint directly with. So I love the look of lilies, but my nose doesn't like the lilies. I have them outside, but you know, inside they're super strong and they make me sneeze. So we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and let's clean this off, and we'll do another one over here. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint this with a bunch of pearl. Oh, I know why you love lilies. But that lily isn't hard to love at all. She's a sweetheart. And I haven't met her. I just know her from social media when she's on with you. So I'm just going to paint. I'm just painting everything with some pearl because it's all going to have pearl. And then we're going to pick up a little bit of this blue, and we'll go ahead and dip it in. Well, these days, well, she is getting to that age. I remember so well. I'm sure my mom, who's on, remembers too. Right, Mom? Oh no, I was an angel, wasn't I? I know my sister was watching too. She's probably just laughed when she heard me say that. We were angels, right, Tia? We never caused any problem. And the violet and the blue together also make a really fun thing. Yeah, right. Ooh. Fletch. Fletch. It's okay. It's okay. Fletch, that was Mommy. When I said oof, the dog went nuts. He's okay. Is he really loud, you guys? Can you hear him loud? I was curious to know. You know, somebody was outside, and the dogs were barking, but I said oof, and that scared him. And of course, I'm behind a closed door, so he can't come in because it's really hard for me to try to get him to stop eating things in the room. So, but maybe he saw something in the window because he kind of skittered off. Was he super loud, you guys? I didn't know. And if my phone kind of mutes him because he was out in the other room. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And then I'll come back and we'll do some more of these other ones. You know, it's funny, you're talking about that, Gina. That's funny, Lucy. Well, it might be this to the time. So he's usually pretty quiet. He doesn't do a lot of barking unless he hears a kind of a weird noise while we're inside. And then if he's outside, he likes to bark at the dogs because my neighbors all have dogs, and to say hi, of course. But if somebody's walking by, he barks at them like, what are you doing in my yard? Which, you know, all dogs do. But other than that, he doesn't do a ton of barking. If he needs to go out, he does a little bit of a whine. And if he really needs to go out, then he might bark a little bit like, hey, 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 hey. This last weekend, I did a virtual crop. And I was home alone. And all of a sudden, I mean, I heard him, but I didn't. And he was just whining and whining and whining. And I felt so bad. I looked over and he wanted me to go take him outside. And I didn't hear him right away. But he was really good. I felt bad for him, but he's funny because he sounds like this huge dog. And he's really not. He weighs a lot, but he is not a big dog at all. He weighs about 45, 50 pounds, but he's a medium-sized dog. And my one neighbor, when he barked the other day, she just turned around. She's like, oh my gosh, he sounds like he's like this huge dog. And I'm like, I know, isn't that crazy? And my other neighbors across the way have big, 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 big dogs and big labs, and my dog just barks them up. So he's only a puppy yet. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was just being he's very protective of Mommy and Daddy. Very, very protective. Because I saw him the way he skittered towards the back door, that I thought, well, maybe somebody was in the area that he saw. But he's my sweetheart. He's our little pup. Alright, so I'm just kind of adding some colors here. I'm just doing a wash in this. I might do a little, I'm going to spread this again just because. Let the colors kind of move themselves a little bit. Like I said, I'm kind of still experimenting with my version of watercoloring and things like that. Alright, let's go back and work on this lily now. I saw this set. I actually really want to color it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and color it with my alcohol markers yet. I am really excited to do that and just test my coloring ability. I think because when I color flowers, my thing is I always feel like they should look realistic, and I know it doesn't need to. This is crafting and it's art, and it can be whatever color I want. And nowadays flowers can be almost any color, the way they can dye them and all that stuff, but I just feel like sometimes that they'll look realistic to me, and then I feel like I failed, which is not true. So I'm trying to do better at that. And florals is one thing that I want to do more of. All right. And we'll go back. Those are still a little wet, so I think we'll do a little painting here. I feel like we're missing something right here, but I might stick the sentiment in here. Or we can stick one of the other flowers that I've already got done. We'll see. Here. And this year, Easter weekend is on my birthday weekend, so. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit, Gina. There we go. And grab some water. Pull this back a little bit. I don't want them to be super bright colors, and then I'm just throwing in a little bit more pearl. Give it that shine. When the pearl dries, it's just amazing. It really is. Trying to avoid the stamens so that I can add some yellow to that. I think I'm gonna hit this quick with my heat tool, just to kind of make sure things kind of sit and dry. Just a little bit. I'm going to keep it moving because I don't want it to sit on that. Embossing powder has already been heated. Alright, there's that. Let's see if we can see if that, you guys can see that. So it's not just the wet, that's the sheen. Yes, it depends on how you move the paper, and because it's wet. Pearl is one of those that, if you look at it straight on, you might not see it, but when you move the paper. So I always try to take a picture with it kind of in the light, so that, like, especially my close-up, so you can kind of see that pearl. Because like I said, since it's white, you know, if you wanted pure white lilies, I would say if you grabbed the black and you added just a touch to do some gray and around the edges to give the illusion that it's white, like you do when you color with Copic markers. Depending on if it dries all the way, I may end up just painting over again with some pearl one more time over the top. Because it's just one of my, like I said, it's just my favorite of the colors. But when you add water to the pearl, sometimes it gets diluted just a little bit, which is a good thing if you're painting over things. If you want it to be pearly, you don't want to dilute it at all, because then it's very, very, very shimmery. But sometimes when if like I alcohol marker color something and I put the pearl over, the pearl will, and of course I didn't shake mine up super well. You can see a bunch of that pigment on the mica powders or whatever they are on the bottom, the shimmery stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen so I don't get you. Sorry if I did it too much. You got a little dizzy there. I grabbed a bottle. I have 3 bottles on my shelf, so this might have been a bottle I haven't used as much, so the shimmery might be kind of more stuck in the bottom. In this, I have not done this yet with the pearl, but I think if you put some drops of the pearl in a spray bottle and just added a little bit of water, you could make a shimmer each spray that's very, very shimmery. That would be completely shiny, but yet you wouldn't have the color. You know, it would be more translucent. I'll have to try that. The shimmer spray is very, very nice too. I like that. We have that shimmer spray, but every once in a while um, I want to have a little bit less, I want it to be a little bit more translucent. So, um, and the shimmer spray once in a while can be opaque, especially if I don't shake it well enough, because, you know, being a little lazy when it gets to, because sometimes we are lazy when we're crafting and we don't do everything we're supposed to do, right? I'm just spraying some more water down on my little mat here to clean my brush off. This is a water brush that was in my stash, but I don't tend to put water in them because I can't control that. So, oh, I'm using the wrong pearl there. If the pearl gets in the stamens, I'm okay with that because we're going to add some yellow to those, and it will be shimmery then too, so they're not going to be too different. Maybe just a little bit more here. And then we're going to go back and add some blue to the petals here. And we'll get ready to finish up our card. Gotta choose a sentiment here. I think that for me, watercoloring has to be playing. I can't necessarily sit unless I'm like completely quiet and no distractions, to concentrate on my color. But I like to just be kind of messy and paint them all out. Now, like, that's very dark compared to some of these, so we're going to add a little bit more to this to make them match just a little bit more, if they're from the same plant. Because that one was a lot darker. So we're just going to add a little bit more of this blue to the center. I am back. Am I running over? No, it's only 7:50. I'm usually here. I try to stay at least the hour, unless I am really, really, really prepared ahead of time, and do too much outside of the lives. But I try not to do that anymore. I like to try to, if I'm going to do a bunch of coloring, I do like to try to get my coloring done ahead of time. You know, like if I'm going to color with Copics, or if I'm going to do a ton of die cutting, I like to try to get some of that stuff done ahead of time. So just adding some extra little color here and there, and then we're going to have to figure out what we want to do for a sentiment. And I also feel like this bottom one is a little bit light. So let's add just a little bit more to the center. And we need to put some color in our stamens too. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to before I add the stamen color, I'm going to add some pearl to the whole thing because I just love the pearl color. I am coloring with Aqua Pigments. I have the pearl, the blue, and the violet. And I like to add the pearl because the pearl has the shimmer and shine, and you could add this to any of your coloring mediums. I know that Bruce Monroe has, you know, I shouldn't say that. You can add this to any of your watercolors to make them shiny. You can add them to the chroma mists to make them shiny. I have just used it straight, and I've watered it down and painted over my Copic markers. You could do it over ink blending, of course. You could add it to some re-inkers to make the re-inkers shiny. If you want the shimmer, but you want it to be, you want the true color of what you colored to be underneath it, I suggest watering it down, which is what I do when I do that, because otherwise it's more opaque and it can cover up some of the color underneath. But like I said, Kathy, I have 3 bottles, because I don't want to run out. And so every once in a while, if I have to add just something else to it, to my cart, I add an extra pearl, just because then I know I will always have some. I think I finally I've got one that's almost empty because I've been trying to be good about using the same bottle. That ended up being a little bit purple there, so we're going to add a little water because I added two of the colors, and let's add a little extra color in here. All right, now I'm just going to grab a quick yellow. And then, Kathy, this is on the Aqua Pigment paper that Brutus Monroe carries. It's a thinner, it's a little bit thinner. I think that's, I mean, that's my feeling of it. And I love it. It die cuts beautifully and it colors beautifully. It's got a little texture, but not a ton. So we're just going to add, and then we can add some gems to these two later to make them kind of more shiny. Okay. So there we go. We've got our panels there. I'm just going to leave that to the side here, and then we're going to quick dry this as much as we can, a little bit. So give me a second to, so you can kind of see the pearl now because I added a lot of pearl to those flowers. It looks wet, and that wetness is the pearl. I tend to let my panels dry naturally, but for the sake of the live, we're going to help it along. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little, thank you, Kathy, I'm going to add a little texture to this. Now, it's not 100% dry, but it will still work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that flower pierced die quick, and I'm going to go run that through my die cut machine. So I'll be right back. And it is going to maybe transfer a little pigment to it, but I can clean that off. All right, so there we go. We got that texture to there. And then, so we've got that pattern of those flowers in there. And actually it was a lot drier than I thought, so it didn't really. So now let's cut this down and we'll get it on a card base. I want to cut it down a little bit because we have some white spaces, which is fine. But I'd like to cut it down just a little bit. I'm just going to take a small bit off this side. I'm going to cut down to 4 inches. Fletch, you're okay. And then we'll cut this one down to 5 1/4. And cutting a little bit more off the top because I have some of that flower down below. So we've got that for our card panel. And then I think we'll layer it. I'm going to grab some paper to the side here. See if I can find the right color. I might not have the right color right now. Ah, perfect. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit bigger. I'm not going to quite do 4 1/4. I'm going to do 4 1/8. Is that what the right? Would that be right? Yep, 4 1/8, I think. By what size is this one? This is 5 and. Oh, I got to turn this down just a little bit more, I think, because I want it 5 1/4. Oh yeah, this is 5 1/4. So we want to go to 5 1 2. I'm horrible at math. I'm horrible at this. 1 2 3/4. Looks about right. Okay, so we'll get that all put together, and then we'll choose our sentiment quick. Let's see how we did. Looks pretty good. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and use, oh, I see I didn't get one of those little, see if there's any other little spots that have holes that didn't quite pierce out. Yeah, there's one more right there. So I can see through the back if that's some of the holes that... I'm going to use some liquid glue. I don't normally use liquid glue on my card panels, but I want to go around the holes so it doesn't eke out, because it pokes some holes for some fun differences in here, and we'll maybe pop up our sentiment. I'm just making sure that I go around the holes, try to get enough glue that it's going to stick, you know, because it is warped a little bit because of all the water. And stand up here quick and we'll get this as centered as possible. It's a little bit dark, but for me to see what I'm doing here. Thanks, Gina. Looks fairly straight. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then a tip I have been doing lately to flatten my panels and let them dry is to put my Misty on top of them. So I will do that quick, and we will choose a sentiment. So we have the Rejoice in the Spring, Blessed Just for You. Let's see what else. Let's look at the spring release here. Throwing stuff on the floor so we can get to our stamp sets here. Spring is in the air. The rest of these kind of fit more with the stamps, or the bird stamps. Have an amazing day. With caring thoughts. Actually, I think I might do that. I actually have to send a sympathy card to... I just found out my favorite high school teacher's husband passed away this last week, and so I want to get a card in the mail to her. And I set something down on top of my inks. And I hope I didn't make a mess on something. All right. It's splattered everywhere. So let's just kind of put that on top of there. And we will stamp our sentiment down. So I think I'm going to stamp the sentiment on some white paper, and I think I have a scrap piece just sitting here somewhere that I can fussy cut out. I saw it not too long ago. Here we go. We'll stamp that out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, you guys, for I just saw all of your comments there. I think I am going to stamp it in black, and we will then kind of fussy cut it and put it on the blue paper. So I am going to stamp it with that that pigment ink, so that it can I can heat emboss it. Get the W down there. Created a big mess today. I have a huge crafter math tonight. Usually it's not so bad, but all right, let's get that heat set and get this finished up. Sorry I'm going over just a little bit, you guys. It's okay, pup. Mom's almost done. All right, we got with the caring thoughts. Grab my scissors here and fussy cut this out. And I'm just, no rhyme or reason to fussy cut with the sentiments. I'm just gonna try not to have anything super sharp. I am not a fussy cutter, but we can make it work. One thing I want to say, and I will tell you, you can ask me how I know this. I remember if you are heat embossing, to give your heat embossing a sense to cool before you kind of rub it or touch it, or you may smear it. I did that this weekend and I had to restart. I was so upset with myself. Okay, so we got our with caring thoughts. We're gonna go ahead and I did set that paper down on top of that. I thought so. Let's stick that down. I have stamps flying all over the place. We'll get this stuck down here quick on this and fussy cut this out and get this down on our, let's hold it a second. Oh, let's pull a panel back. So this is the Lovely Lillies, and it's an add-on set. It's available now. There are matching dies on the store, so if you want to go over and get it as part of this March release, and if you want to go while you're there, check out this stamp of the month, because it is also have some lilies that are smaller versions that coordinate very well. And the inspiration box is called Sophisticated Spring, and it's got some adorable bunnies with some Easter eggs to help with your Easter spring projects. Okay, we got that. Let's get this down and we'll add some bling. Now I will say, if you've never tried the card bases from Bruce Monroe, the pre-scored card bases, when they just had the sale a week or so ago, that was one of the things I bought a bunch of, was the card bases, because they're really awesome and just so helpful to have ready, especially for my projects. I'm gonna use my tape gun to get this put on the card base here. And I know I'm not on camera, I'm just putting tape on my card here. I'll zoom back out now that we're not watercoloring. Okay, that's in. There we go. But they're just handy to have. Got a little extra tape for when you need a card base, and they're perfect. You don't have to cut them or anything. They're pre-cut, they're pre-scored, they're made of perfect blend paper, I believe. So we've got that. And I'm just gonna grab some foam tape here that I have some handy here. I know I do. Just gonna cut a piece of that off. And we'll add a little bit of bling and we'll have a card. Anyway, I don't know if I said that, but anyway, like I said, my favorite teacher's husband passed away, and I want to send her a card in the mail. My high school teacher. She is my Spanish teacher. So, all right, so I've got With Caring Thoughts, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the Jewels mix. I have I don't know if this one's still in stock, the other one's sold out, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. I don't know if this is the Brights. I've had these for a long time. And I'm just gonna grab some of the purple. Yeah, it's the Brights, and these are the neutrals. But if they are out of stock, sign up for notifications, because they will be getting more in. When Christopher uses them, they tend to go very quickly. People go over and buy them, and I need to probably think about getting them ready for my wish list. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab a few dots here and there. I don't have a rhyme or reason for how I do mine. Just add a few dots and add some bling, and I figure if you overthink it, that's when it doesn't always look right. Where if you just go for it, even if later on you go, why did I do it that way? Usually it still looks good if you come back to it, because it's done. And I know I added another glue dot somewhere. There it is. The big thing I would always do maybe is try to add odd numbers. 6, I think I'm going to put one up here, 7. We'll put another one, 8, and then I think I'll put one here, 9. And that will be our card for tonight. Thank you, Mom. I think Mrs. Woodnett will like it. And then I have found with sometimes, if you put it, I don't like the placement of these exactly. But I've got my glue on there. I can use the other end of like a pickup stick that has the pointy stuff and stick it down and move them over just a bit. And then if you have extra glue, which I need to be careful because there's paint on this now, I go ahead and just tap it right on there, and that sucks up the extra glue. There we go. Got a Lovely Lillies aqua painted card. And then I also use the, oh, I need a little bit of glue, the Flowers A2 pierced panel for some texture and interest on my card. So I appreciate you guys coming in and joining me tonight. I hope you had some fun, and thank you, Kathy, thank you. Had some fun with me tonight, and don't forget to give thumbs up, subscribe for when we go live. There was earlier today, Christopher is live, and him and Shannon will be live together, same time but on Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, and they're going to craft at the same time. That'll be fun. That's one of the first times we're going to do that. So pop over to the store and check out the spring release or the new subscription projects for March. Thank you, Gina, very much. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Have a great night. I am excited to see how Lily's costume turned out. So, and you need to place another order. Go for it, Lucy. It always happens when you watch a live, right? Good night, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Bye.